we all fish lily pads. We all fish worms. It doesn't have to be lily pads. But I'm hoping in the next few minutes that I'm going to give you some tips and techniques that are going to make you a better worm fisherman, but also make better decisions in using these two different style worms. So what I like to do is always have my back to the wind, where the wind's blowing into me, so it's easier for me to cast. I'm sitting here in front of a pad patch where bass would live. So I'll throw this thing out there in a hole in near the pad patch, and what I like to do is leave it on slack line, and then I'll gently lift it up. Now you got to remember, I got the king tail on here, which has got a lot of action on it. So anytime I lift my rod up, if I jig this worm, if I go to reel it at all, that tail has got a lot of action. The king tail's got a big ribbed body section in it. It's creating a lot of commotion down there. When the fish are feeding, that's the worm of choice I want. When they are active, when they're looking for something, moving, creating commotion, this is the worm I want right here. You can see they call it king tail for a reason. It's got this big tail on it. It's got this big ribbed body. Anytime this thing's moving through the water, this tail's just kicking, his ribs are moving all through the dirt. It's creating commotion. So I'll throw it out here. I got this on an 1/8 ounce, 3/16. You can throw it on a quarter. About as big as I like to go with a worm is about a 3/8. But as you can see, I'm just lifting my rod, so I know when I'm making contact with that weight in that worm, that tail's moving, it's fluttering through there. If there's a fish there and he's active, he's gonna bite this worm. When you see the king tail, you'll notice that its ribs are going, you're pulling with the ribs. So what's that doing? That's drawing more water, that's creating more commotion. And it's very simple to throw because it's nice and heavy. I can send it out there effortless, just a simple cast like that, land it in the spot I want. Now all I'm doing is just lifting my rod and knowing that worm's down there doing all the action for me. If I do get a strike, what I like to do is, oh, okay, there's a bite. What I like to do is take a step 2 forward, make sure the fish is there. That's a pretty good sized worm. They might have to take 2 or 3 bites to get it. And I like to set up to 2 o'clock. I like to keep my drag pretty tight. If that fish decides to pull, I'll thumb the reel and let the fish go. Then I'll get back on the reel. I don't want my drag. These reels are amazing with drag. I'll show you that now. This thing just slides off the reel. I mean, no problem. I'm not real big on doing that. I'd rather have my drag crank down and thumb the fish if it's coming in. And what that also allows me to do is get a perfect hook set. So with my drags cranked down and I throw the king tail out there in the pads, in the grass, in the wood, in a tree, around a dock, if I lift up and get a bite, my drag's cranked down. So when I set that hook, I know the drag's not gonna slip off the reel. Instant penetration into that fish's mouth with that trocar hook. Those things are laser sharp. You're not gonna miss that fish. Now really it's your job. How big is he? What way's he going? How do we get this fish, direct him into the boat? And it makes it simple. We all know worms are amazing. They catch a ton of fish. But I want you to think of this scenario. We're down here in Florida. Let's say we have a cold front come through, which it kind of looks like one's starting to come through. We fished this stretch of pads. We killed them. Now we're not catching any fish. Or the water temp has dropped over the last month and our king tail, our big ribbon tail worm, isn't getting as many bites as it used to, and we're not catching the big ones like we were. What I like to do, same hook, same weight,